there's a question here. What is the average size of a company that obtains a HITRUST certification? So in other words, do you need to be of a certain size before HITRUST begins to make economic or business sense? Who would like to take that?
I can start, and then maybe I'd like to get Brian's thoughts. I think we've heard from Howard as well, and his journey where he started. But I would tell you, we've designed the programs to scale across all different shapes and sizes of organizations. For example, we actually have some very specific programs that are targeted at startup organizations or those members that are backed by venture capital firms. We've got a VC program, we've got a Right Start program, and ironically enough, Pawbox was our very first organization to successfully go through the Right Start program. So they were the first organization ever globally to go through that, right? And now obviously they've grown and matured, maintain that over a period of time. It's also important to differentiate between adoption versus assessing. So we have thousands of organizations that use our framework to be the backbone of their information security program, and they're not certified. That's okay, right? They just use it as a framework to build a program. Brian's probably seen that a lot. They can't necessarily meet the bar that requires certification. It is a high bar. When you think about Pawbox, that's where they started, right? And they were obviously able to quickly meet that bar and continue to maintain it. But we've designed programs to help organizations in either managing their information security posture and privacy posture and or providing assurances in the form of certification. So it's really all different shapes and sizes. The latest one that I heard, a good friend of mine that is assessing, is literally a 2-person organization operating out of a garage that is in the process of going through a readiness right now, up to some of the largest organizations in the world.
And I'll continue on that thread. I was about to say almost the same thing. It's not a 2-person organization. It's actually a 4-person organization that I've helped get HITRUST working out of a garage as well. But I mean, the venture capital money, so they had the money, they were certified up to, I mean, the sky's the limit. So no perfect size. We have seen exactly as Michael said that they've adopted a lot of the HITRUST standards, and they went to more dip their toe by going down, again, if you want to say they're quote unquote easier, the ISO 27001 route, or the SOC 2, which is a smaller subsection of everything. And then they went to go to HITRUST, sometimes doing a SOC 2 plus HITRUST so they can kind of adopt it, another kind of standard that is out there. So the answer is, again, 2-person shops. I haven't seen a 1-person shop yet, but so I would say 2 and above would be the size of the companies.
And Paddy,
right.
just to add to that, sorry, is in terms of really the determination from our perspective was the nature of the clients you want. There's a number of client sets. Again, if you've satisfied, sorry, here's the framework, and that's all you need for that time and being, that may make the most sense. But if the nature of the client you want, and for whatever reason, the nature of the clients we had were such that made a huge business differentiation. And frankly, we looked at it as part of a technology exercise, a privacy and security exercise, and a marketing exercise. Because have the HITRUST, so it was really a business decision in part because of the nature of the clients that we were at that time going after and that wanted to have and maintain.
Yeah. Michael Mead, would you like to weigh in?
I just jumped on, so I didn't hear the question. I'm having really bad technical issues today for being on a technical conference.
Well, the question was, do you have to be a certain size of an organization for HITRUST to make sense to you, or can you be anybody? And Michael Parisi just walked through the different programs they have for different kinds of organizations, all the way from 2-person startups and garages, all the way to very large technology organizations. So, I was wondering whether you have a perspective on this.
Well, I agree. I haven't seen anything below 2 people, a 2-person company either, but definitely startups and all the way up to an enterprise would definitely benefit. So, again, I agree with with Michael that it's 2 or more, and probably 10 or more, where it would be easier to have those policies and procedures and other types of tasks oriented with this that can be spread out across the team, but definitely 2 and above.